that
Okay, then
official.
I'll show that form then while we're waiting for those people.
Yeah, we've got.
Okay, so you can see my screen, folks. You good? I got to get my toolbar out of the way here. All right, so as an example, here's minimize that as well. All right, so when you're using your form settings, right? You know how you've got collecting email addresses, and you got the response. I always give them the always response, like they automatically get it in their inbox when they're done. That way they can go back to it. If you are doing a quiz and you're being pretty, like, hey, this has to be done properly, you might want to limit it to one response, but limit it to one and then let them edit it if they have to. I mean, that's.
Just to clarify here, if it's collect email addresses, limit to one response, that's something that requires a Google address to do that?
No.
No? Okay.
No, if you put it in a form, you can just, it'll take whatever they have.
So whatever email they use, then the form only accepts one response from that email.
Exactly.
Thanks.
Yep. And so right up here is what I'm talking about. Like this is obviously the view of the builder, not the user. But you got your questions here, and you can edit whatever. I won't get into that now, obviously, but it's this part right here, the responses you want to go to. And so when you click on that, let me close this. So here you see how it says accepting responses. Yeah, you just got to tap that, and then now we're not accepting responses, and everyone's shut out, and then they freak out and go, what? It's like, well, I gave you 15 minutes, but you decided to chat with your friends, right?
Right. Just a moment. I want to make a screenshot, okay?
Yep. Here, let me just zoom in for you.
No, you have to pan back a little bit.
Oh.
Okay, now.
Is that better for you?
Yes. Stop. Okay, here we go.
So Nathan, can you send us some of these Google T-shirts that you're wearing, man?
Yeah.
Wait. We're getting OTJ T-shirts and mugs coming up soon. Don't worry.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, no, I'm a walking billboard for Google. I'll explain
survived
why
coronavirus, and all I got was this crappy T-shirt.
So, Nate,
I let him mute myself.
Nate, we're just about ready to get started. So do you want me to mute everybody's mic and just let you go for a bit? And then if somebody really has a burning question, they could ask, but otherwise put it in the chat. Is that cool?
Yeah, whatever works best for you, Dave. If you could moderate, and then, if you can pull up the chats and just say, hey, Nate, we got a question here. And what I'll do is say like, oh, that's coming up. So, maybe give a quick answer and then demo it as we go.
Yeah. Maybe, okay. I'll keep. So folks, what I'd like you to do is if you have a question, if it's a burning question, you could turn on your mic and ask, but otherwise just put questions in the chat and limit the chit chat in the chat. Just questions, please, because I don't want to I would like to just read through questions near the end and let Nate take it from there. So I'm going to mute everybody's mic. I'm going to try to mute everybody else.
All right, just a quick question, Nate. I see that there are some people up. There's like an anonymous armadillo, etc.
Hang on here. Sorry, Nick, I just muted you.
That's cool. Have you shared this sheet with us?
I put it in Facebook.
Okay.
And let me go into the chat here. Yeah, it looks like I'm not on private. So, whoops, let me get out there. Where am I going here? 2. Let me grab the chat. Dave, do you want to throw that in the chat, please?
I
just had the chat a minute ago. I was just talking with Derek. What's going on? All right.
I got to get crap my window here. Trying to get myself organized for a second. Chat.
Yeah, maybe it's because I'm presenting. Or
did you say you put something in Facebook there?
I did, yeah. But
okay, hang on. That'll just take me a second to get my bearings straight here.
Really?
Yeah, because I'm not in Facebook at the moment. And there we go. Facebook. Was that in a private? No.
The event, yep.
I got people. Here we go. Here we go. Dang.
So why don't I get started, because this is going to go in the deck. Dave's going to take care of you. I'm just going to take a few minutes to put a little context and then promise not to go on about some other things. All right. So anyway, first, happy everybody's interested in this. I will say I've been using Google now for at least 12 years. I teach at an international school, and I've actually been teaching at a one-to-one laptop campus for 20 years now. My teaching, I've been in Japan for 23, with a few years like yourselves teaching in the Japanese system, but coming to Tokyo at international schools, I haven't ever taught without having students with a laptop or some kind of device in the room. So I kind of go way back with this. So very quickly about myself, for those of you that know me, sorry for the repeat, but I actually teach history and individuals and societies at an international baccalaureate school here in Nagoya. I was in Tokyo for 18 years, but now I'm here. I also do educational technology consulting on the side. So Nick, if you're wondering why I have the t-shirt, I do a number of things for Google as a consultant. Sometimes I'll be in Tokyo or Osaka teaching Japanese teachers about G Suite for Education. And then Google partners, sometimes they get me to go, like Korea, Philippines, or Malaysia or whatever to do 2 and 3 day workshops with other people kind of like me for teachers like all of us. I am like kind of at the higher level of the Google educator certifications. Anybody in this call could easily, get these certifications within the next year to 2 years. It's pretty cool. Opens up your learning network and a lot of fun. In particular, I'm in a group called Google Earth Education Experts. Probably wouldn't apply to a lot of you, but maybe if you want a good classroom activity. So I have kind of been in deep with Google for a while. I've been to Google headquarters. I've been to about 7 or 8 different Google offices in Asia Pacific, doing YouTube events and things like that. YouTube spaces are very cool, by the way, I'll say. So if you want to connect with me, once you get this slide deck, you're going to see you can get me on Twitter at Nathan Gildart. My socialstudiessamurai.com is probably more relevant to people here. I'm working on videos, in fact, in the next couple of days on Google Forms, which we were just talking about, which teaches teachers how to use forms for classroom activities and quizzes and things like that. So today, before I go on to a couple of other shameless self-promotions, we're going to focus on these things. I'm not going to read them off, but you can go back to this slide deck as a reference. Again, Dave's recording this, so he'll share the recording with you. And you can always reach out to me and say, hey, how the heck did you do that again? I don't plan on creating a video on Google Drive anytime soon, but we're going to do a lot with working with files, making your use of Google Drive more productive, and how you can communicate with colleagues and your students using Drive effectively and efficiently. I've deliberately chosen my Social Studies Samurai account because it's painfully disorganized. Just to let you know, Google Educator groups, every city, Tokyo's got some in Japanese, West Tokyo's in English. Talk to Dan Ferreira, he'll help you out. I'm leading GEG Nagoya. Check out the link and you'll see the kind of activities, but basically we are volunteers supported by Google. And we just put on free, like completely free professional development activities. We're building like a huge library of videos and webinars and that, and you can get a lot of those at, there we go. At GEG Asia Pacific. So there's the link right there. I won't get into it. There's photos, but you can look at those on your own. This is a list, not updated, but of all the GEGs in Japan. And if you're curious more about Google Forms, I'm doing a live webinar on the 13th. I put 5th. That should be May 15th. I must have seen the episode 5. But anyway, go to GEG Nagoya, YouTube. Just, if you Google it, you'll find it. So that's my shameless plug right now. Check out the Social Studies Samurai YouTube website, and you'll see some videos on how to screencast and a few other things you might be able to use in class. So that was rapid fire, but I didn't want to waste your time because this is what you're here for. So before I go on, is that all right, Dave? We good?
I think we're good. We're good. I got, we're good. We got 31 active participants right now, and I think we're ready to go.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So the first thing I want to do, and I'm going to close this slide deck, or actually I'm just going to pull it out and then minimize it. All right, so first thing, I'm going with the assumption some people don't know a lot about Drive. Most probably have seen it, but first is a couple of ways to get to Drive, and you must have a Gmail account to use it. Gmail meaning if your school uses G Suite for Education, even if your tag is like .takyo.edu or .jp, if you can access your Gmail from your school account, then you have it. So the first way is to go up to the thing called the Apps Launcher, and you would tap on that, and then just tap Drive, and it's going to open up Google Drive for you. Now there is another way though. If you're somebody who prefers typing and that, you can just go up to your Omnibox and all you have to do is type drive.google.com. And if you tap, whoops, I misspelled it because I don't type well. And if you just type that, if you're logged into Gmail, it's automatically going to open it up for you. So just for those that prefer typing rather than tapping, there's another way to open up Drive. So I'm not going to keep two tabs open. All right. So first thing that I'm going to do is give you an quick overview. We're going to go through this left side toolbar. We're going to go through how you can search for files, and we're going to go through how you can create files and then move them around and manipulate them. There's a few, and of course, how to share them. Okay, so I realize right now I'm talking a little bit rapid fire, but I want to be cognizant that it's Sunday for everybody, and you've got families and rest time to get back to. So go ahead. Sometimes I hear like a I wonder if somebody wants to talk, so if I pause.
What you're hearing is the doorbell ringing when people are trying to come in. So I think that's it.
I've been hearing that too. Yeah, I know that.
Okay, you know that sound. Okay, I'll mute my mic as well.
Okay, cool. So first thing, you might have noticed I've got my thumbnail view of my most recently used files. You know, Google does that simply because we tend to work on a file, you know, in a small vacuum, right, for like 2 or 3 days kind of thing. So it just makes it easier to get to. But some people prefer the list view, where you're going to see not the thumbnails of your folders and that, but you've got a list. So you're always going to get your thumbnail at the top, but here you can get your grid view. I guess that's what I probably should have said. So here's a grid view with my folders right here. So what I want to do is draw your attention over here. Now, first is this tab called Priority. And if you tap on that, you're going to notice I haven't used Drive with this account. Well, I use Drive with it, but I haven't set it up. So I don't have anything in here as a priority, right? They're giving me suggestions as a priority, but if I want, when I go back into my Drive, I can tap on any of my folders. And one thing I will point out, you can right click and then get a series of options and things like that, okay? And within this, you can do things like starred. So now that I've starred that, if I click over here, starred, we'll get a little bit more to priority later because I don't have enough stuff set up here for you. But so you notice how that I starred that one folder. Now all I had to do is tap starred for the folders that I use frequently. So I'm going to go back to my Drive just to show you again. One that I find I use all the time is my YouTube admin folder. So I'm going to right click on that. And of course, if you're on a PC, it would be different. I'm going to click add to starred again. And so now if I go back to starred, now I can see that that's there. Now I don't really do the AR VR a lot. So I'm going to right click that and I'm going to click remove from starred. And so the nice thing about that is if you've got 3 or 4 folders that you're working on a lot, then, you know, and especially if they're embedded and scaffolded in your Drive, it just helps you get there a lot quicker. And you can do that with docs as well. So as an example, if I was to go into YouTube admin and I don't know if that's a bad example. I don't have folders. Which one might have folders? EdTech for Social Studies. Yeah, there's that. All right, so Google Tools. This is one that, you know, I'm working on. Let's say this is a doc that I'm working on a lot. So I've just right clicked and I'm going to click add to starred because I'm working on this over 2 or 3 days. If I go back to, all right, so let's say I logged in and I'm back in Drive, I click on starred, and now I've got that folder I use a lot, plus this one document that I'm going to work on for the next 3 days. Instead of click, 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 it's just a little more efficient to find it. Now I'm going to undo that though, because I'm done with that document. And as I said, I deliberately chose this account to use because it's painfully not set up. So now if we look at shared with me, some of you may or may not know that you can share your own folders that you use. Like I tend to work in my GEG Nagoya account, I work in my private Nathan Gildart account, and I work in my school account, and this one I'm in right now. So sometimes I'll just share everything because I might use it in multiple places. So these folders you can see here are all shared with me, these docs and things like that. So that's simply because I built them in another place So this, story of Christmas quiz show that I made using Google Sheets. This is actually in another account. So if I just click shared with me, if I'm looking for something that somebody else shared with me, it's right in there. It's just a little bit easier to find. And I realize, I know that it's not mine. I am going to show you how to a bunch of ways to search through Drive, but we'll get there in a moment. Another way is the recent button. You can just tap recent, and then you're going to see all the things that you've been working on recently. So I was working on my website and my YouTube channel last night. So all of these documents have come up because these are the ones I was, kind of working on. And then, of course, let's say you've thrown something out in the trash. If you click on trash, I still have everything here. The nice thing is if you drag and drop something into the trash, then you can put it back. It doesn't go away until you completely delete it. So there's two reasons why that's important. Now you notice here I've got 30 gigabytes of storage. That's because this is a paid account. In a free Gmail account, you only get 15 gigabytes. In a school account, you get unlimited. Now the thing is though, sometimes you move from one school to another. I know a lot of you probably teach at 2 or 3 different institutions. My context, I tend to leave schools every 5 to 6 years. That's pretty typical of international school teachers. So I like to make things in my private account and then I share it with my other account. And yes, you can download all this stuff when you're done with it. So if you make things in your school account, you can actually download those files and upload them to another account later. We can go into that later. That's not really the highlight of this. But the question is, if you are using up your storage and you want to trash stuff, then all you have to do is click trash, that down arrow right there, and then click empty trash. And it'll take a little time if you have a lot of files. But the nice thing is now I know that, now that wasn't very heavy in my storage, but now I know my storage is probably freed up a little bit. So I'm going to go back up here and please, tell Dave or unmute your mic and tell me to slow down if I'm going a little bit quickly here. So the other thing that I like about Drive is the arrows here. It gives you this scaffolded view, right? So if I want to, sometimes people like to keep this open so they have a quick bird's eye view of all the different things they have. So maybe I want to say, oh yeah, what skills have I been working on here? Oh wait, I haven't done origin, purpose, value, and limitation. So there's nothing there. I better work on it. So I can tap on it and there I go. Now another thing that I do like about this, let me find something with actual files in it. So let's say I have a folder or a file, and let's say I want to move it somewhere. All I have to do is click it and drag it into the place that I want to put it. So that's one way that you can quickly move files or folders into other folders. Or if you want, you can just kind of drag it and put it at the top kind of thing as well. Now, a nice thing too with moving folders, okay? If you, or files actually, it doesn't have to be a folder, it could be a file as well. Same idea, all you have to do is tap on it, right click, and then you're gonna see this here where it says move to, right? And all you have to do is tap move to, and then it gives you options of where to put it. I can put it in that folder there, and of course there's my move here button. I could go back, and I can go to the top, and then I can just click move here. And you notice that file is gone now. And if I go back to Drive, I'll notice that my file history and traditions and of traditions and celebrations, that folder is now here. So it's just a quick way to move a folder. So I want to put that back. I'm just going to click move to, and it's going to give me this again. And that was in stories. So I'm just going to click there, and it's a separate one. Let me just go down here a little bit. I'm going to click move here, and then I know that that file is back in the right place. So that's a nice way to kind of move files around. Now I will show you one more thing with moving files. If I click on move to, let me just pull that up here. If I click on move to, you notice here, I could actually make a new folder. So let's say I have one file that I want to move. I can actually just click on a folder. I can give it a title. I'm going to put this demo folder. And I'm just going to go back to wherever I want it. click on my drive, and okay, for some reason that's not working. So obviously if, it's not a proper place to put it because I've created it within a folder. So I just tap there, and then it's going to be in that folder that I wanted it. Right? Okay, so I'm going to have to go back and change that later, but I want to keep going. So just to show you that on the side here, you've got further navigation. Okay. Now, one other thing that I do want to show you is that within all your folders, like anytime you work here, it's just like working in here, right? Let me just kind of pull this over here a little bit. If I, and again, I'm going to right click. You notice at the moment I'm doing a lot of right clicking. Now, here you can see my drive. I've just got all these kind of gray, ugly colors for my folders. Now, some people find it's easier to color code. You know, we're visual learners, we're audio learners, you know, and that kind of thing. So sometimes I like to put colors. So Google Earth, let's say I want to change the color. All I had to do again is right click, and I want to click change color, and I'm going to click blue. And so now you notice that this folder and the text, or sorry, the folder is blue. So you can recolor all of your folders just to give you a different kind of look and feel. You know, you can get your head going into that's blue. I actually do this with my other accounts. So I'm going to right click again and just kind of point these things out to you, or a few of them anyway. Let's see, we haven't talked about the renaming. So let's say you want to rename a file. This is where you can do it. There is another way you can rename a file as well, which I'll show you in a moment. But all you would do is click rename, and then you can rename it right there. Now, another thing that you could do is tap on the folder, and this goes for files as well. And you just tap on the file itself. No, that's not the one I want, sorry. Well, you would tap on the file, and then you would rename it, okay? So let me go back here. Let me just, I got my notes up here, so I want to make sure I'm checking off everything here. Okay, so essentially that's your left bar navigation, okay? I want to point out before we jump into other files and folders, this little information icon in your top right here. So if you tap on that, if you want to tap on a folder, you can just get your basic details of that folder. You know, is it a large folder? You can add descriptions and that to it just for your own organization. That's for yourself. You can also see the activity that you've had on it too. Have I been working on this? You probably won't use that, I would think. But another thing that you can look at is up here where you've got your sharing icon, okay? So I've tapped on my activities general folder. If I click on share, this is where I can share it with other people, right? So in here, I'll just share this with myself. So you would put in the email address. This might be a colleague. This is what I do when I create documents and folders, and I want to share them with myself in another account. And that way I don't have to you know, log out of one account and then log back into another account. I just share it with myself. So that's Nathan Gildart. And then let's share it with my school account. And I'll just put a note. Hi, me. Bye. And then you see this right here. It says notify people. If you want them to get the notification, you can put that in, and this will send an email to their inbox. Also, I'll point out, let's say you're working on someone that you just want them to comment on, then you could add view only, and then they can give you your feedback later. And then you would just click send. And then it's gonna, now if you're at a school account doing this, now this account for me, it's a private account, but it's a paid account, so it's a business account. It might give you this, are you sure you wanna share this outside of your organization? If you're sharing with yourself, the answer of course is yes. If not, then don't. Depends on your school policies, I guess. I'm not gonna share that with myself yet because I wanna show you this shareable link thing. Now let's say you create a Google Drive, as an example, you create a doc, and in your doc, you've got an explanation for an assignment. Maybe it's text you want them to read, and then a link to a Google form to answer questions, or maybe a Padlet where you want them to type their thoughts, or some other third-party app. You can go here and you click shareable link, and then you notice here, I've got these options with the down arrow. anytime you see a down arrow, it means there's more productivity within a Google tool. So I tap that, but what I want to do is go to more, because at the moment, only anybody in my Social Studies Samurai domain can actually look at any of these documents, or at least this folder. So I click on more, and then I have my options. I want it to either be public on the web so the whole world can see it, meaning that they can search for it on the internet. Or if you want to keep a little bit of privacy in there, you can have anyone with the link. Or if you just want specific people, like for example, a class list, then it can be turn it off, and then you have to share it only with specific people in the way that I just showed you. I realize there's a lot coming at you right now, but I'm available for questions anytime, and you can watch the video later. Now here's another thing though. Let's say I want to share it with anybody that has the link, i.e. my students, not the whole planet. Remember that you want to keep an eye on your view settings. So do you want them to only view the document? Maybe you want them to work as a team and edit the document. If you're using Google Classroom, for example, when you create a Google Doc and you share it with students and allow them to edit through Google Classroom, it automatically keeps the privacy within your domain, so you don't have to go through this step, which is quite nice. But if you're doing it from a private account and it's not something you've got in Google Docs, then you have to be conscious of your sharing settings. All right, so I'm going to cancel that because I don't really want to share that with myself. I don't need to. Okay, how are we doing so far, Dave? I know I'm going quick, and some people it might be. Ah!
Well, I've got a ton of questions if that are lined up here. Want me?
Let's go with a couple of questions.
I'll see what's happening here. See if I can make sense out of anything here. What's the quickest way to get the published link to a given doc?
Yeah. Okay. So the quickest way, yeah, it does. Quickest way to get a published link, unfortunately, is to click on. Let's see. Okay, so click on the doc, and then now that's right click. Now this would be the fastest because you don't have to open it up. It's not particularly fast, but click on the link and then click share, and then go through the process that I just did with you a moment ago. Make sure you have the share settings that are appropriate for your school policies and for your own personal concerns. Hope that answered it.
Next. Thank you. I think that answered it for me. I have a question about how to organize files. Can you put those files in folders?
Yes. So again, well, actually, I want to just go to Google Earth. So again, two ways. All right. So one way is for me, the fastest way to move a folder, if I don't have a lot of folders or if I'm very well organized here, let's say I'm here, I'm in my doc, I just have to tap on it, click, drag it, and choose whatever folder I want to put it in, and it automatically dumps it. Or again, right click, choose move to, and go through that process we did probably about 5 minutes ago.
Okay.
So yes, you can move files into other folders.
This sounds a little bit detailed here. I'm interested in putting short personal videos into Google Forms to say hi to students and get a quick response from them. Do I have to post the video on YouTube first? Can I save a QuickTime video in Google Drive and just create a URL from the drop it into a form?
Absolutely. Yes, you can. You can, if you put a video in Google Drive, again, you might have to change this, the share settings, but what you can do is just share the link with whoever you want, and it's there. So tell you what, this doesn't take a lot of time. I'm very quickly going to use QuickTime because, like whoever gave the question, that's my favorite tool, actually. I always edit in Camtasia or with iMovie. All right, I'm gonna very quickly record this. Hey, all right, so I got my little thing here as a demo, and we have another person came in the door. So I'm gonna stop, and this should share pretty quickly as a screencast. Okay, I'm just gonna save it. I call that the spinning wheel of death. I call that demo. All right, and this is actually, that was a great question because a lot of people are gonna be screencasting and, uploading to YouTube, and that can be a pain. So I've got my, I'm just going to go with not throwing it in a actually, I think, did I make a demo folder? I'm going to make a demo folder. Here's something that probably should have shown you earlier, but in fact, let me use that file as a segue, or that question as a segue. You can put files and things in Drive. Any kind of file can go into Google Drive. So if you tap up here on the plus button, that's where you can make things. If you click New, you can choose to make a folder. You can choose to upload a file. You can upload a folder. The nice thing, if you have a folder on your desktop, whether you're Mac or Windows, it doesn't matter. All you have to do is drag and drop that folder into Google Drive, and everything will go into it. The thing is, you want to make sure that you've got your settings so that you can convert to Drive, like Google Docs and Slides format. I'll show you how to do that in a moment. But for now, so that plus button is where you create new folders, upload files and folders, but you can drag and drop those, as I said. This is where you create your docs, sheets, slides, and the More button. That's where you're going to get Google Forms, Google My Maps, and a few other things. All right, so I'm going to create a folder right here. I'm going to call it Drive Demo. Okay. And all I'm going to do is open that up. I'm going to find my screencast. I'm going to dump it in there. Okay. Now remember, this is not on YouTube. Okay. This is in my Google Form, or sorry, my Google Drive. So all I have to do is tap on it. And the nice thing is I don't actually have to open it. I just have to tap on it. And when I tapped, you notice that I got my options to either get the shareable link, share the link with other people specifically or public on the web, preview it, which is going to give me the view of the video and see how it sounds, or I can trash it, right? So for example, if I want to preview it, I tap on that and then I can see what the video looks like. Okay, that's a good example of I need to pause a little bit because I had to wait for a quick time to start. In fact, so now I want to go back and grab a Google form actually that I made and show you. Like you can embed, but when you embed a Google form, you have the options of putting in Drive, if I'm not mistaken. Let me, sorry. In fact, now I'm going to show you how you can search. Actually, I know I'm kind of going around the bend here, but let me quickly go and show you, and I'll review this in a moment. I want to find one of my Google Forms. I'm just going to use that find the type option. And there's the one I was working on earlier, so I'm going to tap that. And let's say for one of my questions, I want to add something. Whoops, that's not, I didn't want to, yeah. So I want to add a question. Let's say it's a multiple choice question, demo question right there. Okay, sorry, getting ahead of myself here. I'm going to delete that. I want to add a video. So I click on YouTube and I want to put the URL. So it looks like it's only going to give you a URL from YouTube. I haven't done this before, so I go back to my demo. But we're going to see what happens. Let me get a shareable link. I'm going to turn my link sharing on. I'm going to go back into my form, and this is probably not going to work for us. Yeah, so what you're going to want to do in that instance then is instead of putting a video in, what you're going to do is click a new question. Whoops. Demo queue. And then you would put in your descriptive text down here, okay? I know this isn't a forum session, everybody, but just to see that we answer that question, I'm going to choose those three dots. 3 dots in Google Apps are very friendly. And I'll say, use this video and complete the quiz. And I just put the link right there. And then the students can access the link from there. You might, if you have 5 questions on one video, maybe just put the video in here, right? The link, sorry, in here. So that's the workaround since you can't put it on YouTube. I very often actually put links to other things in my Google Forms for my students. So let me move actually because a few other things have kind of popped up. Hopefully that answered the question, but we can answer that a little bit later as well. Now, I mentioned earlier that you can, perfect, good. So put it on YouTube or use the workaround, right? So as I mentioned, you can upload files and folders. If you're going to do that, okay, what I recommend is going up here to your gear wheel. You probably won't use this any more than once, right? But gear wheels in Google Apps are all about settings. So if you tap on that and then you choose settings, okay, then you're going to get this range of things. Now you notice here, this is the one I want to focus your attention on, is convert uploads. Convert uploaded files to docs editor format. If you tap on that, okay, and make sure you click done, what happens is you're going to get, when you upload a Microsoft Word doc or a PowerPoint presentation, it's going to convert it to Google Docs or Google Slides or an Excel spreadsheet to Google Sheets. Now, the problem with that is it still messes up the formatting, okay? So the nice thing is you can upload it and then work in the cloud, but the drawback is you're going to lose some of your, your alignments. The text will have to be reformatted probably, and some of the images may not appear as well. So just be aware of that. But if you're working mostly from docs and it's got a lot of text, then you're golden. Now, the second and last thing I really want to point out is this one right here, and it says offline, okay? Now, again, note here it says, well, basically what this does is allow you to work when you don't have Wi-Fi, right? When I'm doing presentations in other countries, because Japanese phones are locked, sometimes I'll pull out my phone, and because I have this allow my, any device to work offline, I can use that. But what you have to do too is activate your files to work offline. So I put those in, I'm gonna click done, and let me go back into an Earth thing. And this does get a little bit tricky. Google, by the way, folks, they sometimes change things. Now, I've right-clicked, and you notice with this specific doc, now I won't be able to do this with a folder, but with a doc I can. If I tap on this available offline, that means now I can work on that when I'm sitting on the train, or when I'm just out and about, or let's say I just have weak Wi-Fi. And the nice thing is, as soon as you get into a Wi-Fi environment and the Wi-Fi kicks in, if you're logged into your Gmail account, it will automatically update that doc that you were working on when you're sitting on a train. And I have done that. And I'll be honest with you, I was in Kobe once doing a presentation, and that feature saved my ass. There's another thing too, just to go with docs. You notice here it says add to workspace. That's another feature that you can use with docs. If you were to go down here, okay, let's see, now it hasn't popped up in the starred. I think it pops up in starred. Oh wait, now it's because I haven't added a workspace. Let me just go back there. Again, I'm deliberately using this, this account because I haven't done much with it until recently. So if I take a folder and I want to keep it in one place where I'm constantly doing work, I can click here to where it says add to workspace. I honestly don't use that very much, but I want to let you know that this exists. So all you would do is click create new workspace, and I'm going to call this online quizzes, or maybe I'll just call it quizzes. And maybe that's a workspace that, because I'm creating multiple, or my intention is to create multiple quizzes, one will be on this, one will be on that. I'm going to use this spreadsheet as my template. So now, let's see, did that go? Sorry, because I don't use it very often, I get a little bit confused with this one. So yeah, so where is that showing? It should show up at the bottom here. That's probably where it is. Let me check on that and I'll get back to you, folks. There should be something popping up here and here that says workspace. I'll go back to that. You probably won't use it. I'm a Google, wing nut, and I don't even use it, but some of you might, depending on your sense of organization, right? Let me see. Okay, the next thing that I want to show you is looking for files, and I think this is, it's a godsend, especially if you've been using Google Drive for a long time. It's a great habit to get into, and that's the search in Drive feature. And I'll highlight again that these down arrows and 3 little dots. They're always your friends. So if you click on this, now you noticed earlier I was looking for a Google form. Now let's say I know the kind of document I'm looking for. I know a word that might be in the title of the document. I know certain things about it, but I can't remember where it is. So let's say I want to look for a video, right? So I'm going to click on that. And let's say the owner, maybe somebody shared it with me. Maybe somebody didn't. Now I'm going with one that's owned by me. Maybe it's something I think I threw in the trash, but I haven't deleted the trash. Maybe I've started it. Maybe I know exactly when I made it, you know, in the last 7 days, 30 days or whatever. I'm going to click today. And let's say it has the name, or at least has the words. I'm going to put demo there. And then I'm going to click search. And you notice that video that I just made popped up because I remembered I made it today. I remember it's called demo, and I remember it's a video file. So just with that process, instead of me searching through all my files, like where the heck did I put that thing? I can search that way. So just as another example, let's go with, let's see, let's see, do I have any sheets? Let me go with the presentation. Let's see, it's owned by anyone. Let's see, maybe I can't remember any of the other information in it. I'm going to click search, and then it brings up all of the presentations that exist in here. Now, these presentations are owned by a whole pile of people. So maybe I want to modify that. I want to find something that's just owned by me, or maybe something owned by a specific person, right? Let's say, Nathan Gildart, let's say somebody made a presentation and they shared it with me, but I'm not the owner of it. I know that, well, Nathan shared a presentation with me. I can't remember where the heck it is. So I'm going to click search. And there are all the slide decks that I've created and shared with this particular account. So again, it's another way to look for files and folders that other people have shared with you, things that you've made yourself, or, you know, again, just, you know, that specific person. So that's another nice little productivity feature. And as your use of Google Drive grows, I promise you, you're going to use that. And if you don't, you're kind of wasting your time, really, right? Let's see. I want to get into this is good. We're starting to wind down. So if you find you're kind of waning a little bit, folks, we've gone through pretty much most of the stuff. But I want to talk about this idea of a shared drive. I'm sure some of you have seen shared drive. Maybe some haven't. I am in a private account. Actually, it's a paid account. I said business account earlier, but I consider it business because I'm paying for it. But it still is a private account. I don't have a shared drive because shared drives are only for businesses, which is referred to as an enterprise account, or education accounts, or EDU accounts. So what I'm going to do is open up my school account, and I'm going to show you what it looks like, because you've probably seen it. Now, at Nagoya International School, I am the head of my department. I teach individuals and societies and high school history, which is, it's kind of the equivalent of social studies in most places. Give me a moment here and let me log in. Come on now, hurry up. Come on, Google. So, boom. So if you're working from a school account, and let's say you're working with a department, I highly recommend any department documents that you're using, I think a shared drive is a great idea. So I've just opened Google Drive, and you're going to notice here now I've got under my drive on my left side toolbar, you know, it's not letting me zoom in here. So you notice I've got shared drives. And again, it only appears here because this is my school account, which has shared drives. You do not have this feature in your private account, so keep that in mind. So as an example, some of the shared drives, I work with people in my subject area across Japan. In fact, we have a job light coming up on Friday that I'm leading. And I'm going to be using this as our platform to communicate. And teachers from all over Japan that teach, you know, my subject, 29 people, clearly not enough have got on board. But this is where we put documents that you know, anybody at any of our schools can use. Now this one here is my department shared drive. So if I tap on this, I'm not going to go through all these features, but I will point out that the sharing with this is limited. You know, your school might block sharing outside of your domain, so you'll be limited to this, which means our shared drive that we have for all the other social studies teachers in Japan at international schools, we have to go to the IT department and get special access to them. But in terms of working with the department in my school, all these folders here have different documents that we work together with. All of us can update them. All of us can automatically edit them. There are change settings, like in terms of management. So our IT department and administration are the owners, but I'm a manager on the department as the head of department. You can't do certain things, like if you right click, you'll notice that you can't you know, change the colors and all that stuff. But you know, there are other things that you can do. So that's just a very quick overview of shared drive, but it's great for working with your department. Now there's one other thing within Drive I want to show you that I have in my notes but kind of forgot about here. What you can do, and I really like this feature actually. So let's say you're working on a document. Now for me, teaching social studies, you know, sometimes I have a document that I could use in 2 or 3 different places, right? So if I click on this, let's see, yeah, usually you can, whoops, click make a copy. And if you do that, what it's going to do is create another copy of it. And then you have another copy in here, and then you click and drag it and move it to wherever you want it. But the problem with that is that isn't very efficient, because now I have 2 copies and my document is not going to be updated in real time. So I'm going to show you a beautiful little trick that my man Gary Garcia in the Philippines taught me. So if you click on that, you highlight the document, right? And then if you hit Command, or is it Shift Z, I think, Shift Z, I get this. So note here, you've got a little button that says Add. So I'm going to click, I'm going to choose where I want it to go. So that's quizzes. I've got it in a folder called Google Earth, but maybe I want to put it in another folder. In fact, I don't have another folder for quizzes, so I'm going to create one called Quizzes with Google Sheets. And I'm going to check that. And then I'm going to click Add here. So I'm going to go back to my drive. Notice here I've got a folder now. It says Quizzes with Google Sheets. But let me go back to where I created the original document. All right, so here's my original doc. And so let's say I want to change one of the words right here. I'm going to change the word Yule. Still loading here. Here, I'll just change Yule to Fool, which is what I am. All right, now I'm going to close the document. I'm going to go right back to my drive. I'm going to go back into my Quizzes with Google Sheets. I'm going to open the document here, and you're going to see that the document has indeed been changed from Yule to Fool. So I'm going to actually change that and go back, because I've shared this with, you know, thousands of teachers around the world, and if they go to use it. Notice here it says syncing, because I can use this offline as well. Well, I'll go back and change that later. But that's another feature that I think is really, really nice. Now, another thing. So I'm going to click on Shared with Me. And let me go to, let me see one I might use, Identifying False News. I'm going to click on that. Okay, taking a moment to load here. Actually, I don't have to open it up, sorry. So let's see, I've clicked on my file that has been shared with me. Now, I do not own this, right? I'm not the owner, but I don't always want to go to Shared with Me to get it. I want to put it in somewhere else. So this little icon right up here, it says Add to My Drive. The nice thing is I tap on that document, I click Add to My Drive, and if I want to organize it, now I click I typed a little bit too quickly there, folks. Let me do another one. Seeking the truth. I'm going to click add to my drive, and I'm going to choose organize. Oh, I did it again. Yeah. All right. Up here, you see, I got this organize. So I tap on that, and I go through that same process of deciding where I want to put it. So that one actually is going to be for skills. So I'm going to put that in. Let's see. Note-taking, source analysis. That one was seeking the truth. Yep. So a little current event stuff right there. So now this folder is in my shared with me folder, but it is also in my other skills folder, my source analysis, and there it is right there. So anything that somebody shares with you, you can share it in there. And what it does, it just shares it in your drive. It doesn't change anything with the other person. So I want to show you a couple more things that I think are kind of fun, just for labeling your names in that. And then we'll take some questions. In fact, I'll show you one more thing here. So another thing, I work with this guy, Gary, in Manila once in a while. He's a lovely Filipino chap. So I'm going to go with, let's see, you can do this with any emoji kind of thing. It's another way to label your images. So for example, if you go to Emojipedia, okay? And let's say I want to get smileys and people or maybe objects. Let me just actually open the page. Let's see, it gives you all these popular ones. Let's go with maybe symbols, right? Let's see, broken heart, travel, flags. I'll go with flags, how's that? So I've tapped on flags. Let's say I want the pirate flag. Arr, I'm from Nova Scotia, like Dave Juteau. We're pirates, aren't we, Dave? So I got that emoji. Two things I could do. I could either actually highlight the character if I want, right? Just like that, or simply just click copy. I'm going to go back to my, my doc, and let's see. I'm going to put it here, academic honesty. I'm going to right click again. I'm going to go to rename, and I'm going to post my pirate flag and the skull and the crossbones. And so you see now I have a little thing right there, which is just kind of a playful thing to do. But anyhow, so I've been talking at you for, you know, about 50 minutes and that. Are there any other burning questions that kind of came up in, oh, and there's one more thing I do have to show you, but let's get some questions first. And please stick around for Google Keep. You're going to love this. But questions first.
Okay, Nate. I might be able to unmute to get some of these questions, or
Sure.
you want to do that?
Yep.
I'll unmute all, and just raise your hand physically, or if you raise your hand in the side column, I'll call your name. How's that? Question time. Colin Thompson.
Yes, Aaron Dodds had a good question. I second that. How do we get students to submit homework on Google Docs?
What I do? Okay, so if you want them to submit, so let's say you create a homework folder, right?
Mm-hmm.
I actually do this. I have students, when they're doing their note-taking, unless they have an accommodation, I get them to write their notes, their research notes by hand, and they snap a photo on their phone, and then I share a link with them to upload to a homework folder. And what I do actually is then, for example, I have a new folder in here called 9W. I've got 2 grade 9 classes. So for this one, all I do is either open the folder itself, or I can you know, just tap and then go up to that share setting. But so I've made my folder where I want them. I go to share, and then what I do is with the shareable link, right? Now, the 2 things you could do here, you could type in the names of all the, copy and paste the email addresses. If you've got the email addresses of your students already in Gmail in a contact list, then it should pop up. Or if you just want to email a link, that's probably easiest. Get your shareable link. Of course, hit the down arrow and then choose more. And then I always go with anyone with the link. And the thing here, though, is you got to choose edit. And you got to tell them, all right, so, well, first off, so I choose can add, edit, organize. And then I copy this link. And then I simply email the link to the students. And I give them a reminder that I want you to name your homework file with your name. Use your full name. So Nathan Gildart is the name of the file, and then they just upload the file, whether it's a photo. Now, if, excuse me, if it's a Google Doc, I recommend you just work in Google Classroom. It's just easier because it automatically creates the folder for you. But if you're looking at external files, this is the way to do it. If they have a PDF or something like that, if they're working in Microsoft Word, they can just drag it and drop it in. I hope that answered your question. Again, if you're working with a school account, you will have Google Classroom. Just create a homework assignment in Google Classroom and then get them to upload it to that folder because it'll be automatically created for them and you.
Thanks, Nate. Jose, got a question?
Hey, Nathan, this is Jose from Fukuoka. Thanks very much today. My question is, do you know how I've heard stories that you can basically take any photograph of text that you've taken and have Google actually do text recognition on that and slam it into a document?
I am so happy you said that because that's exactly what I realized I forgot to do.
You can do it.
I've got it in my list here, but I skipped it. So can I answer that question with a demonstration?
Yeah.
Okay. So very quickly, I want to point out that you have integration with Google Calendar. If you notice that, not with Forms, but with Google Sheets, right here, with Google Drive, right here, and you get the same thing with Google Slides. You get the same thing with Google Docs. You get these three little icons. One is Tasks. I won't go into it because you probably won't use it. The other is Calendar, where let's say you're working and you want to find out, what do I have coming up? Now, I don't use Calendar for this account because it's a private account and I'm not really working like, in that sense. But what it will give you is all the things that you have. In fact, let me show you in my school account. Let me just close a few of those. If I tap on Calendar in my Gmail, I can get a very quick list of all the things that are happening in my future, right? So loads of meetings and things like that. These don't all include me actually, but to answer your question, okay? Here's this other thing called Google Keep. Now there's three ways you can get to it. One way is to get through it through Google Drive, Sheets, Docs, and all that in the way that I just showed you. You could go up and type keep.google.com. Whoops, I didn't put my period in there. Let me just fix that. Keep.google.com. If you tap on that, you could Google it as well. If you are logged into your account, it's automatically going to open it for you. Okay. And notice here it says take a note. I'm almost about to answer your question. This is a separate app. There is a third way you can get to it, and that is through, again, your Google Apps launcher in Gmail. If you tap there, scroll way down. This is a heavily ignored tool that I use quite frequently, actually. Basically, it's an agenda list that helps you kind of organize your thoughts. Now, all you do is take a note. You can give it a title, demo note, But this is what you want to do in Google Keep to answer your question.
Sorry, Nate.
Can you hear me there?
Yeah, I muted you just for a second. Sorry, briefly.
No sweat, no sweat. So just to recap, all right, so let me trash this note then. Here, I'm going to delete that note. So what you would do, you create a new note, give it a title. If you want notes in here, go for it. But to answer your question, this one right here, it says add image. Okay, so I'm going to click add image. And I don't know if you noticed, but earlier I went up and I downloaded a picture with a list of adjectives to my desktop. So on my desktop, I now have this list of adjectives that I took. So I'm going to tap that and then I'm going to add it. I've got too many toolbars here that are in the way. I'm going to click open, whatever way, depending on, Mac or whatever. So now I have this picture of a list of adjectives, okay? But what I want to do with it, after it loads, I want to go here to my three little dots, and I'm going to tap on those dots, and here it says grab image text. So I tap that, and then you're going to see here all the text. So what I do is just copy that text, and then I go back to the document that I want to work on. So let me just open a new doc. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to open a doc through a template just to show you that you can create templates. Am I in a shared folder there? Whoops. Okay, it's all right. I'm going to go back. Okay, yeah, I'm going to go with a blank document just to speed this up. So I've got my image text, but basically you just have to copy and paste it. So as I wait for this to load and show you and prove that it works, let me know if that answered your question.
Nathan, can I have a couple of follow-up questions?
Absolutely.
In your experience, what's the accuracy? 98%, 99%?
Of the text?
Yes,
100% if it's typed.
100%.
100% if it's typed. But the problem is you do have to go in and it copies the bullets without the bullet formatting.
Uh-huh.
Like, look at this huge list of adjectives now, right? It's 4 pages. So what you have to do is go in and then you have to readjust it. So, reformat it. So the thing that you want to do, you noticed here, this is all in alphabetical order. Here, it hasn't given me that alphabetical order, right? So what you're going to want to do is make sure you choose an image that is going to, satisfy, your need. Like, it's got the bars there. So you're going to have to keep that in mind, right? But 100%, if it's typed, you're going to get the text.
Kanji, does it handle kanji?
It should.
Wow.
Yeah, let's hold on though. Yeah, just because Google's integrated with so many languages now, right? So let me go in with this. Let me download that image. Download that. Let's go back to Google Keep. Gonna add a new note. Put that image in there. Okay, just wait for it to load. The bigger the file, size of the file. Bigger file sizes are better because it's got to read all this stuff, right?
Right.
So I'll grab the image text and see how it works. And then you're going to see the kanji right there.
Holy crap.
Yeah. So it's a nice feature. I actually do this a lot for when I'm making classroom posters, or if I'm making, for example, I had the students write a compare and contrast, political systems assignment. And so I gave them a list of compare and contrast text. So that was a good example of where I just went to this and I took out the words that I think were too advanced for my grade level, which was great. Well, that class in particular.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you very much.
Nate, could I add to that?
Please do.
I just discovered on the Google Drive on my smartphone, if you snap a picture with the plus sign with text on it, that picture image will immediately go to your Google Drive. If you then go to if you tap on it, as Nick says, tap on it, and then you control, and it says open with, and if you open it with Google Docs, it will convert it to text that way as well.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. And I've been doing that with my table of contents from my textbook so I can get them lined up into, and I just learned that 2 days ago. You have to do a bit of editing though.
Unfortunately, yeah. I mean, you got to do the formatting. So
Yeah. You have to reformat.
Hey.
It's quick. It's fast. It's amazing.
Yeah, it works. It's good. So I've pretty much gone through everything. I mean, are there any other questions? I mean, I'm free. I know people probably are like, man, I've been talked at for an hour. I'm good to go though. Eric, you got your hand up?
I got Christine Pearson. You got a question?
Hey, Nathan, thank you. And David, thank you so much for holding this session. It's really been very eye-opening and interesting for me.
Great.
I had a quick question about the when you're sharing either a file or a folder with others.
Mm-hmm.
I saw in your particular version that you actually have share with anyone in a particular group. So
Yeah, like within an
yourself.
organization, right?
Yeah, how do you set that kind of thing up? Because in my particular drive, I only have share with everyone or share with, like, putting in the email addresses. Is there a way that can be set up? I also have
Okay.
I have a regular account. I also have a G Suite account. So is that only available for G Suite, or is that available for every other type of drive?
Yeah, so the share settings kind of depend, right? So my school, for example, since we're fully online, what they've done, like this is my school account now, right? So what they're moving to, they haven't done this yet, but let's say I want to share this, right? And I click, get the shareable link. Notice here it says share with anyone at Nagoya International School. Now, they still have the settings that I can share it with anybody on the web and they can edit, but we might be moving away from that, right? So that would be how you make it public on the web and share with everyone. Another option that you have though, click here and then just go to get shareable link. And then you just copy that, right? Highlight it and then copy it. But again, you notice
So
this one is just in my organization. So if you want to share it outside, you're going to have to go through the steps I just went a moment ago.
Right. So if you wanted to share within just a particular group, so you either have to already have that. What was you had shared drives or something like that? Was that part of it? Was that
no.
separate?
Let me give you an example then. I'm not going to physically share this with everybody, but this is in my school account. So I've right-clicked and tapped on the folder. Let's say I click here, share. And at the moment, anybody in the domain, Nagoya International School, can view this. Actually edit, because the edit settings on here. Anyway, I trust my colleagues. But what I can do as well, I'm going to type in, INS. Yeah, okay, so this is my department, right? So if I tap on that, you notice I got the names of my colleagues, right? And then I can type a note. I make sure they get the notification. I make sure I set so that they can view it. And it's only these 5 people. I think Morgan's in there twice now. These, including myself, right? So the 6 of us are the only ones that are going to get this. So within my school domain, I can share stuff just with my department. Now, I could physically type in their email addresses, but I have them set up in a Google Gmail contact list. So it just makes things a lot faster. At the beginning of every school year, I make a contact list for all of my classes in a Google Sheet. So for example, 9W, notice here I got 9W, 22 contacts. I tap on that and there's all my students in that one particular class. So they're the only ones that are going to get it. And that might answer the question you had more specifically, right?
That's great. That's perfect. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
So we can take the contact emails from all of our CSV. Is that what this, like a CSV file?
A CSV, yep.
For
or
example.
XLS, right?
Yeah, and then copy and paste those right into the share window.
Yep. Again,
Contact window.
I don't like. Yep, that's right. So if you go to your apps launcher again and you choose contacts, right? If you have all of your students in a group, now I've got them all in a group right here, right? That's what I use now I'm the head of department, so I have access to all of them. But so you create your group, which means creating your contact. So if I click create contact, I could create multiple contacts. What you would do is if you already have your XLS file or a CSV file, like Dave says, basically a spreadsheet, all you have to do is click import, and then you select the file and also collect, make a label. You can create a new label called, class Oberlin, have I spelled that? Or whatever the university is, or whatever the class is. Then you select your file, wherever that file is, and then you've got it. So let me close that though, because I'm not going to create that right now. But again, this is a Drive thing. But to make sharing in Drive faster, create groups in Gmail, and then when you go to share a file or a folder, it's just that much faster. That's exactly what I do every time I create something for the students. Do we have any other questions?
Let me check for some hands up. So let's go with Stephen Clark. Stephen, you there? Your mic's muted. I'll unmute you. Go ahead, Stephen.
After we save it to the drive and in the folder, is there some way we can access a list of correction symbols and drag them over the work, save it, and return it?
You mean like, can you edit the doc and then put it somewhere else, or?
Yeah, I edit the doc with correction symbols and then return it, save it and return it to the student.
Yeah, well, I mean, two answers to that. Number one, if you're using a Google Doc and the student has their own specific doc, actually, let me open up a doc here just to kind of show you. This is what I tend to do. Again, this is not my school account, so let me go into this. So you can choose to, and of course we're in the cloud here, so you're talking about typing the symbols. If you were to put, let's say that was a spelling error and you use like SP, what I tend to do is when I put text within their text, I will put just a note right there, and then they know that, you know, there's a spelling error, like, you know, actually normally I'd put it after where the spelling error was, but you get the idea. Another thing though is what I do, if there, let's say there's like a whole area where there's an issue, right? I highlight the text and then I put a comment in here and I say, this is a run-on sentence, and then I'll click comment. And if it's their own document, they're going to see my comment here, and then they can go back and fix it, right? Another thing too, if you want them to get a notification, let's say I want to talk about this, then I would, again, click the add a comment symbol, right? That little thing right here. And I'd say plus Nathan, and that means the student's going to get a notification. I'm going to click assign to Nathan Gildart. Let's see. Please fix this terrible statement. No, please fix this. And then I click assign, and then I'm going to comment. Yes, it's going outside the organization. So then in my private email, I'm going to get a notification because I've sent, you know, I typed plus Nathan Gildart. So the student gets a notification of my comment. What you might want to do is if you're going to do a whole document, at the very top, click, you know, do all your comments and your edits and that kind of thing. And then at the top, when you're done, kind of highlight one word and then put plus student name, you know, at gmail.com, make your comment, and then they'll get an email notification when you're finished, right? And one thing too is with the comments, they can tap on it and then they can add a comment. I still don't understand, or whoops, just because my typing is appalling, but you get the idea. Yeah. So I still don't get it. Look at that typing, sorry. But the thing is, you can reply to your own comments. They can reply to you. You can get a dialogue going. My students in grade 11 and 12 each year have this ridiculously long essay in history they have to work on that the IB mandates. So I get a lot of use from this. So I've got to delete these, by the way, because this is a public document for teachers all over the world.
So you would do that for each individual student, right?
Each individual student, right? But I only do that for assessments, right?
Yep.
So you
know.
Eric was.
Yes, sir.
Eric Bosway.
So Tori, I think was there a follow-up question to that?
Yeah, I have a question. I don't remember the steps that happened by accident, but how do you, for example, if a student sometimes would show up, take a photo of his work and show me the image, I take a snapshot of it and I can scan it inside within, what is it, Google Doc. Is that possible?
Within Google Doc, you can't, well, what you can do, all right, so let's say a student did work here, right?
Uh-huh.
What they can do is take a photo and then insert the photo into the doc. So let's say they have image, you know, evidence of their work within the doc. Now, so, you know, it would just be a matter of insert image, and then they choose however to, you know, upload it from their computer, upload it from their photos, which would be in their phone, you know, that kind of thing.
Uh-huh. So would they be able to just transcribe it to text?
Well, that's the tricky thing. Like if they're using handwriting, then, you know, it all depends. Like when you put that image into Google Keep, whether it's going to read it properly. Often it won't. You know, if sorry.
Well, then how about translating something? if you hold up the document, will it be able, because some students have said, I'm able to translate it, no problem. And I don't follow up on it. And I go, okay, fine. I'm not sure exactly what they're doing. Are they capturing the document and then translating into Japanese using Google Translate? Is that done automatically?
Well, I'm not sure really what they're doing. Like, I mean, you can use Google Translate to translate anything, like from, you know, whatever language to whatever language. I'm still not really clear on your question, though. Like, what is it within?
For example, I've heard that you can take your phone and take a picture of the document and translate it in real time.
Yeah, actually.
Using Google, I think maybe Google Translate.
Yeah, well, what they would have to do is copy the text and then paste it into Translate and then look at it. Yeah.
But you can also take a picture at the same time.
You should be able to, yeah.
Okay, got it.
But, you know, again, that's, you know, just one of the things of not even just online learning, right? When we're working with tools like technology, you know, I just remember kids, you know, copying work from encyclopedias and history books when I was in high school. So it's just a different version of the same problem, right?
Yeah.
You know, I actually, in our school, we have Turnitin. Google also has a relatively new feature that is, you know, it checks whether their work in Google Classroom, it checks whether their work is accurate or not. Like, it scans millions of documents all over the earth and websites. And then if it has like a translation and or a direct copy and paste, then it'll flag it and say, this may have come from this website or this may have come from this book, you know?
So it's a plagiarism checker.
It is, yeah.
So is that built in?
Yeah. Let's see, the tools and docs. I don't use myself because I, you know, myself, I have the students kind of take their notes on my own, and I can always spot a fraud, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm talking high school kids. Well, I suppose university students as well, same thing. Yeah, that's one. Let me make a note of that. We're getting into not forms, but docs here. So that's one that, since I don't use it, I'm not going to, you know, claim to be an expert on it. But there is that, I can't remember the exact name of it.
I'm using Grammarly. And if it's available in Google, I'd rather get it free than pay for it.
Yeah, well, if you look here where it's got compared documents, right? Like, if you tap on that, you know, you can look for, you know, comparing docs and see maybe it's been copied in your domain, but that's not what I'm talking about. There's another, you know, plagiarism check.
Built-in checker. Okay.
It is, yeah, there is. It's embedded as well with Google Classroom, but again, that's a whole other, you know, workshop, right?
Okay.
But it does exist, and how well it works, you know, the rumor mill says that, yeah, it's good, but it's not good like Turnitin. I only use the Grammarly extensions. I'm not sure how well it works with Grammarly, but I'd say give it a test with yourself and then see how it goes. But that's a good one. I feel a video coming on. Thanks for the idea.
Thanks, Eric. Stephen, do you still have a question out there? Your hand's still up. Are we okay? Your mic's muted. Your mic's muted, Stephen. Your mic's muted, Stephen. I'll unmute you.
Okay, sorry about that.
Stephen, your mic is muted. Yeah. Did you have another question?
Yeah. You had a folder called YouTube Admin in your Google Drive. Was that a folder you could upload YouTube videos which you often use in class?
You said I had a folder that said admin or?
YouTube admin.
Oh, yeah.
Is that somewhere I could put videos I often show in class?
Yeah. Well, okay. There's two things with that. Just, you know, so I can clarify a little bit. Number one, this is a folder that I made, and the reason I made it is that I have a lot of thumbnails. With my YouTube channel, I'm being consistent with the branding, so to speak. Mm-hmm. So these are things actually that I just made myself, and that's just a label or a name that helps me remember. So that's why you see that there. But if you want, two things. Again, remember with Drive Demo here that I made, I just upload videos that I've created for tutorials and that kind of thing. This is not on YouTube. Mm-hmm. If you want students to go to YouTube to look at videos, what I recommend is you create a playlist within your school account or whatever account you want to use, and then copy the playlist link and then send it to the students. Do you want me to show you what that looks like?
Okay, I was just wondering whether I could have a YouTube like favorites type thing in my Google Drive to show.
You can't have that. I mean, what you could do is create a Google Doc or a spreadsheet, and then just copy and paste the URLs there as a my favorites kind of thing, and then share that document with students.
Okay.
I kind of do that as well. My homeroom class, we often look at like 5-minute inspirational videos and discuss, you know, the deeper meaning of them, right?
Yeah.
And I just keep those links in a spreadsheet, and then next to it, I put the title of the YouTube, usually it's TED Ed or Great Big Story. So I have the title, the speaker or the author, and then I have the link. But for videos I use all the time, I just have a YouTube playlist, and I share the playlist with my students.
Okay, and on a similar theme, like say for example, sometimes when we're doing speed reading, I use the online stopwatch. Would I be able to have that in my Google Drive, or?
You would have to download the video for it in Google Drive, and if you want to do that, if you go to KeepVid.
KeepVid.
Yeah, so it's an app called, a tool online called KeepVid. And all you have to do is paste in the video address right here and click download. And then it'll download it in, you know, whatever format. And then you can just upload that to Google Drive, and then you've got that, you know, counter.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Stephen. Jose, get a question? Your hand's up there.
Yeah, I do. But I think Dave Stepaniuk was ahead of me.
Was he? Okay, David. You're muted, David. Can you unmute your mic? Gotcha. I gotcha. David, go ahead.
Yeah, Dave, I just wanted to call to your attention. You still have a number of outstanding questions in the chat column.
Yeah, we're not going to have time to get through all of them, Steve, David.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're here. So that's why I opened it up for people to ask.
I mean, yeah, what I mean is you could start from there.
Yeah, well, we got through a handful from there. We got through a handful from live questions. I think that's the best we can do.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I have a question, and maybe I don't know if Nate can answer it, but what I like to do is create a spreadsheet where you have both the student names and the student numbers in the same cell.
Yeah,
so
the name and number in the same cell.
If I had a CSV file and they were separated, is there some way that I can do it?
Like merging
It
columns?
doesn't have to be in Google Docs, but have the student name and the student number in the same cell.
Right. So let me see, just because this is being recorded, I don't want to go where I have my student email addresses. So let me just quickly make a sheet here. Good question. I'm kind of curious. My guess is,
and it's a real drag.
Oh, I imagine. Yeah. My guess is we can merge. So let me just
write name and 1, 2, 3 and name and 4, 5, 6, and there you go.
All right. So I'm going to highlight both of these columns, and I'm going to right click, and I wonder if we can merge these columns.
The whole columns, just the 2 cells you would do, right?
Or the 2, yeah. Sorry, yeah, you said cells, didn't you? Sorry, I got columns in mind. Yeah. Let's see, and it looks like you cannot merge, but I wonder if there is a way to do it. That's another interesting question.
Delete? No, not delete. Down a bit. Wasn't there something?
Delete cells. No.
This would be very useful because it saves space on a page. If you can
how about your like edit and view tabs, those things?
Yeah, well,
if they give you a merge and center.
Yeah, quite often, but that's one that I haven't seen before, right? So that's interesting. Maybe you cannot merge.
Could I say something?
Yeah.
So what I do sometimes, if I have like a column of student names and then a column of email addresses, I want to put them together.
Yep.
I'll just copy the whole thing into a text file.
Yep.
Then global search and replace all of the tabs into a space. And then copy that and paste it back into the form.
Well,
that merges
that,
it
that,
together.
that would be a workaround, but tell you what, we're going to find out. Merging cells in Google Docs and Excel, merge horizontally, merge. Okay, so click the arrow next to the right of the merge icon in the toolbar and then click. All right, so let's see if that's going to.
I think this is another video idea coming on for you, Nate.
Yep, totally. Is that the merge icon right there? Look at that, merge cells.
Oh,
Merging cells. Blammo! No, what happened? We lost something.
I was about to applaud.
Me too, right? Let's undo that.
make
and
it
see what
bigger,
happens.
expand it. No.
Well, there are ways to expand as well that are different from this, but just for the sake of expediency. This is, all right, so hold on. Merge cells horizontally there, drop down arrow, and that should work. But it deleted the text. What's going on? So
Maybe
close, but so far.
Yeah, Nathan's giving you a warning, mate.
Yeah, the warning is we got 3 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, right. 90 minutes. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. Yeah, that's right. It's like a 90-minute thing. So
We're, hey, we should, if everybody knows how to use the reactions, we should give Nate a round of applause down in our little. Great job, Nate. Great job.
Oh yeah, reaction. I get it. Okay.
It was a tour de force.
I hope you got something out of it, folks. And yeah, maybe we in the future we can do like a Google Classroom or Gmail maximizing.
Can I just ask that quick question that I wanted to ask?
You got 1 minute.
I think we're gonna. Yep.
Okay. Are there date and time stamps for any edits? For example, if students send up photographs, can I see exactly when they sent up that photograph?
Yeah. Go to File.
I'll check it out for myself. Just want to know if it's available. Okay.
So you go to File and then click Version History, and then you'll get a pop-up that shows you the different things.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you can find out when they've been not telling the truth. Trust
That's
me.
right. Yeah, that's the only thing, right?
For the folks who are still left here, I'm going to try to get this up. If Nate, if you don't mind, I'll turn this into a YouTube video, stick it on my private channel, and then share it.
Yep.
Is that good?
That's a pleasure. Go.
It was a great job. Great job today. Appreciate it. It was, as usual, a pro. We got all the goods today.
Well, just any other questions, folks? Shoot me an email and or on Facebook, and let's get it going.
We'll get you back here in a couple of weeks. Yeah.
All right.
Hey, Dave.
Great job on the community, Dave. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Dave. Is the chat being saved?
The chat's saved as well. Yeah. And there's a lot of good
Because I don't
questions.
see when I look at the bottom of my chat column, it's usually there's a file and a chat icon. I only see a file icon.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I know when I save these, they usually save into 3 files: an audio file, chat file, and a video file. That's typically what happens in that regard. So we wouldn't, I'm not sure what the video will look like, so I'm not sure the format that I've saved it in, but we'll check it out. Thanks again, Nate. Thanks everybody for showing up. It was a great afternoon, and let's go enjoy our Sunday afternoon. I think there's still a little bit of time.
Yep, I got some food in my future.
It's
Have a good
3:30.
one, everybody. Take care.
Cheers, Nate. Great job.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Much appreciated. Much appreciated.
Thanks a lot, guys. Cheers.
Okay, guys.
So
Have a good one.
David Ditto.
Yes.
Did you say there's going to be a quiz presentation coming up sometime?
Did I say that?
Yeah, I was saying I'm going to create a couple of tutorial videos this week on how to use Google Forms as a quiz and how to use it as like an activity where students have to find the exact answer and put it in. So yeah, that'll be coming this week. I'll post it in OTJ.
Beautiful.
Okay, excellent.
Beautiful. Great stuff. Great.
All right. Anyway, I'm gonna let you go. I got to get to the loo here, but thanks a lot, Dave. Man, hell of a community you put together, dude. Well done.
Thank you, and thank you for being a part of it.
Loving it.
People
man.
like you. It's people like you, man. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we're gonna sign out. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Aloha.